And welcome back to the game that shall not be named. Where last time in EU4, we created a large Spartan colonial empire. So how are things going to shape out in the age of industry? Well, let's see. So here is the map of the world, guys, and honestly, it's looking pretty decent in my opinion, apart from a few areas. But one thing I did want to say is I had to do quite a bit of maneuvering with the Hellenistic Empire because they were becoming a decentralized nation in the converter, allowing us to colonize this land. So basically what I did is I released their West African holdings, which are their subjects now, and then I had to make the converter non-European focused and focused on the institutions from EU4, which means there are some pretty powerful nations. But let's get into Sparta, guys. We are a feudal empire with 17.6 million GDP and 47.5 million population, but only 14% literacy, which if we compare to, say, Tamarkia or even the Hellenistic Empire, we are a long way behind that, which is quite good for this game. It gives us something to work on. Now, one thing that might be absolutely amazing, guys, is the fact that, of course, Tamarkia went away from Hellenic in the last game, and there are a lot of Hellenic pops in Tamarkia, so maybe they'll start migrating into our land. But we have a huge amount of issues we need to sort out in our nation, not least the fact that we have a famine right now. Now, you can't always trust the market values before you unpause, but as you can see, guys, we have a massive deficit of grain, so we need to get that going straight away. Now, honestly, our power structure laws are not horrendous. Monarchy, oligarchy, and racial segregation, which is actually a fantastic one to start on, because we do have a lot of pops that aren't going to be segregated in our lands. Freedom of conscience is also a great one to start on too, but in terms of our economy, it is pretty much the worst it can be, with serfdom and tradition. That is not good. We've also got debt oopsies, which is never good either. And our standard of living is pretty horrific right now. We definitely need to get that up. First things first, though, let's make sure we are colonizing everywhere that we can, which is over here and over here. And we do already have colonies around some of these areas. We do have some spare bureaucracy, so let's incorporate all of these states that aren't incorporated yet. I mean, there's only very small ones, so it shouldn't be too bad on our bureaucracy. And with our authority points, we are going to be promoting social mobility in our high population provinces, which are pretty much the Italian ones. And also Ankara and Konya as well. And there we go, declared all of our interests, guys. Now onto the fun part of the building, guys, and we do have a surplus of iron, so we're going straight onto iron frame buildings. Now in terms of our construction sectors, we can get 33 iron mines in northern Thrace, so I think we're going to build them there. So there we go, we're going to build 5 more. That should do us for now. And after that, we're going to try and relieve the famine by building at least one little wheat farm in all of these provinces over here that don't have one already. So there we go, that should be enough for now. And I've gone through and sorted out all of our production methods over here, guys, and basically we just need to unpause to see how our market's doing. The landowners actually want landed voting, so that is the first law we're going to go for and try and get them a little bit happier before we move away from serfdom. Research-wise, guys, we are going to get these 4 ones first to get the research bonus, then go straight for railways and water tube boilers, and then we'll go on to some society research, central banking, and pharmaceuticals. Well, I've combined the armies and navies. They're all moving into position now. Now, that's not something we're really going to be focusing on to start with. We really need to sort our economy, our literacy, all that sort of thing first. So let's now form our power block, the Spartan Imperium, a sovereign empire. Now, I know Trade League is probably going to be better, but it makes more sense to be a sovereign empire for us, doesn't it, guys? And we're going to go for vassalization 1. This is our emblem, and this is our statue. Very nice. And as you can see, we've already got a lovely 11 members. Also, I forgot to mention, what in the hell is that flag? Right then, guys, let's press play and see where our market shapes out in about a month. And I forgot to say, this is the Great Powers list, with Lotharingia coming in first with a GDP of 27.3 million. Ryanas has a massive GDP and a massive population as well, the same as Lotharingia and Wu, but they are currently unrecognized, so let's try and help them get recognized. But as you can see, we are quite far behind in terms of population, GDP, and standard of living, so we really have some work to do. Well, with our brand new interests, we do have more colonies that we can do, so let's just get them in there. I know it's a long time, but that's going to come down rather quickly when we start investing in our institutions. And with that racial segregation law, guys, 81% of our population is at full acceptance, which is pretty amazing, honestly. That is very, very good for us. And we got 2.33 million Etrurians. That is pretty amazing that they survived all this way. And 900,000 Carthaginians. Well, that is fantastic. In terms of our military actions, let's clean up North Africa and take on Guerrero. Ooh, and the Hellenistic Empire is actually supporting them, so we are going to split our armies and make sure that we defend this front at least. Well, there we go. War has broken out, my friends. I'm hoping we can smash Guerrero fast enough to come back onto this front that they don't have any troops on. And there, in the midst of war, we now have landed voting, allowing some political parties to form. That should really help us out. Well, there we go. We naval invaded the center of the Hellenistic Empire, making them come out of the war. Very nice. And that also gives us a couple of little extra subjects down here in West Africa. And somehow we actually capitulated to Guerrero, just giving them war reps. I don't mind that, honestly. We beat the Hellenistic Empire and took a little bit of land off them. And for our next law, I think we are going to risk going for homesteading. It's not going to make the landowners go into revolution, but we've just got to be careful. Make sure the landowners don't go over -10 through any other actions. Let's go for vassalization 2 from our vassals. See how we do on income there, and with our extra authority from that vassalization, we are going to get a tax in here as well. So let's tax services and luxury furniture, and that's great. The landowners are already trying to coup us. And there we go. We now have homesteading. We also got railways as well. That is hugely important. That allows all our peasants to move around now, so they're not stuck in regions where there's famine, where there's no jobs, all that sort of thing. And the landowners now support total separation. That should stop the coup. It also makes the intelligentsia incredibly happy. The devout aren't going to be too happy, but that's quite a nice little bonus for us if we can get it. Let's also move up to level 2 colonial affairs. That's going to be very helpful. And there goes the coup. You're not having us over today, landowners. Well, there goes total separation. Very nice indeed, my friends. Ooh, and now we can reform properly, bring the rural folk and the petty bourgeois in. That should really give us some good options. So we've been improving our relations with this large Arabian Hindu nation of Yamna, and now we can invite them to our power block, which is going to be absolutely lovely. So let's do that. In terms of laws, guys, let's go for agrarianism over here. That should really help out because traditionalism is pretty awful. And now we've got water tube boiler, allowing us to go condensing engine pump, which is really going to help out with our iron and coal and all that sort of thing. I do also have nitroglycerin, but I don't think we're going to go for that. We're just going to wait until we get dynamite. And for our second principle, I think we're going to go for construction. That is a very nice bonus, especially early in the game. And for our first company, we are going to go for grain because we are still struggling with that. Ooh, and Galicia is facing some issues. Very nice. Mind you, so is Brazil. God damn it, agrarianism was cancelled. That is very not good for us. Well, there's a very small chance we could get public schools, so we've got to take that to try and get our literacy up. So we're in 1857, guys, and we've managed to sort our base resource production out, so we are a lot healthier on coal, tools, iron, that sort of thing. Wheat, of course, as well. So that's really going to help us move forward. Some of the more advanced goods like porcelain, engines, that sort of thing, we aren't doing too well on. Clothes as well is a big one. And we do have a massive deluge of fabric. Look how much fabric we're making. It's ridiculous. I'm trying to export as much as possible, but no one wants Spartan fabric, apparently. So yeah, we need to get building some more clothes, that sort of thing. That's really going to help us out going forward. God damn it, we got to ascent stage with public schools, but we had 2 setbacks and now it's done. We're so unlucky with our legislation in this game. Let's try again for agrarianism. I don't know whether it's gonna pass, but you know, we really just need to get off traditionalism. It's so bad. And let's have another go at Guerrero over here. And we just unlocked quinine, allowing us to go up to the next colonial institution. And we can also invite Moravi now. Very nice. And there we go. Guerrero is now our protectorate. It's time for another mandate, allowing us to go for advanced research, boys. That should really help us out getting some schools eventually. We're getting so unlucky with our legislation. It is so holding us back right now. The main issue is that the landowners are still so powerful in here. It's an absolute nightmare. Like, we can't go off landed voting, which really doesn't help. And traditionalism is just breaking our economy right now. We really cannot start to industrialize with traditionalism. One thing we could do, though, to make a few more people loyal is get public health insurance, so let's go for that. And guys, a different day, different shirt. First things first, I did want to apologize profusely, guys, for not getting this out sooner. I know it's been a very long time, but with Christmas, family functions, and then a few personal things that I've had to sort out recently, it has meant that I really was not in the space or had the time to record, and obviously it's not my job, guys, so unlike some of the other people who can do this back to back, I can't. But we are in a good position, and hopefully this will make up for it. Hopefully it'll be a fun video for you. Now, I thought we'd take this opportunity to kind of take stock, guys, and I am going to reform the government and remove the petty bourgeois, because they don't even care about this law anyway for now. And I've got to say, we have been incredibly unlucky with the laws that we have been doing. We are still on traditionalism in 1862, which is absolutely horrific. I am glad we managed to get to homesteading, and we still have 0 schools at all, although some people do want to bring the schools in as well. But honestly, being slightly underpowered, of course, is always good. Like I say, in any of the games, you can become incredibly overpowered. So the fact that the legislation has taken so long to do anything about is kind of a nice hamper for us going forward. In terms of our plan, though, guys, it is mainly still modernizing the country, because our literacy, our GDP, and our standard of living is still absolutely awful, and we really need to start improving it. Like, if we have a look at the power block, we are definitely the biggest power block that is spreading the most in the world. I actually noticed that Cuba is interested in potentially becoming back into our power block, so we are going to definitely look at them, and Malacca as well are our 2 next targets. And goddamn, finally we have something good for our country. Public health insurance. Let's go. Cue the Americans commenting down below. And I think we really do need to try for public schools once again. We're also going to pop up the health system to the next level. That should be pretty nice for our standard of living across the lands. And now we can go straight up to advanced research 3, which is pretty darn good for our research, especially due to the fact that we have such a low literacy. Well, New Lotharingia, that's certainly an interesting flag there. I wonder where you got that idea from. And finally, we have public schools. It passed on 69%, guys. That is really going to help, but we have one law we have yet to really change. So now our laws honestly are looking relatively decent overall for this point in the game, apart from this one, which, yeah, we can't really change as of yet, because even though these guys got quite a significant amount of the vote, they will still not be allowed in the government. It will give us no legitimacy, and we really can't add anyone else, unfortunately. So we need to break the landowners somehow, or get a little bit of a better leader in charge. So basically what we need to do is get dedicated police force over here, because the local police force is giving the landowners some power. So what I'm potentially thinking of doing is going up to mercantilism. Honestly, either of these laws, it doesn't really matter too much for us. So by going to mercantilism, we may be able to make the landowners slightly happier, allowing us then to change the laws to dedicated police force, and then hopefully we can get off traditionalism. That's That's the convoluted plan anyway. And this is how long it's been since I've not played the game, guys. Last time I played the game, obviously you could bolster the parties, like, directly and suppress the parties, which is what I would have done right at the start. But I didn't realize that you can bolster these guys over here. So, what I've done is I've bolstered the radical movement and the liberal movement, both of which should really help us out going forward. I mean, should have been doing it from the start, but you know, handicaps and all that, really, isn't it? So we're nearing 1870, guys, and we are close to getting mercantilism now, which is very good. In terms of our economy, I mean, our economy is not doing fantastically, let's be honest. And finally, we have mercantilism, making the landowners have -3 approval right now, so hopefully we can move to something a little bit better, maybe if we change the government around. Honestly, guys, we've got 3 mandates available as well, and I think we just go creative legislature because honestly, it's been so hard to get anything through, hasn't it? So, yeah, let's go for that. And then when we've got the laws we want, we'll move across to freedom of movement. And by that time, hopefully, we'll have a bit better standard of living. And honestly, guys, we are just constantly at war, which is ruining our economy right now, too. All colonial wars, all in our former colonies, they are constantly going through civil wars. Maybe we need to take a leaf out of their book. And oh my god, finally, we can change the government around properly. It's still unacceptable, but this should allow us to do some laws that'll hopefully be better. And we can just about scrape in agrarianism over here without the landowners getting too radical, so that is absolutely what we need to do. Pray for good RNG, guys. Tech-wise, we are just about to get dynamite. As soon as we get that, guys, we're going to go straight onto it because it's going to allow us to produce a lot more goods. And there we go. We've just changed across to dynamite, and as you can see, we have a bit of a deficit. However, these explosive factories are not producing at their full efficiency yet because the market didn't demand it. So I'm going to let them catch up, and once they do, we're going to have a look at what we need. Maybe some more fertilizer plants and some more sulfur mines. And god damn it, even though the agrarian party won the last election, they would still be an illegitimate government. Look at that. 25, just about legitimate, but I think we're just going to have to do it for now. It might drop back down. If it drops back down, then we'll have to put the landowners back in charge. Honestly, though, guys, I don't know what anyone else is doing. The world is pretty quiet right now. It seems like we're the only ones getting involved in too many wars and colonizing and all that sort of thing. So, Rayana's does have the gummos as a subject, I believe, now, which is pretty cool. But apart from that, it's not really amazing. And I mean, what is this? Hello? I don't even know what to do with that. And you've got to be kidding me. Like, this is just ridiculous. The RNG with the laws in this run has been horrific. We've failed on a plus 50% chance about 4 or 5 times in a row now. So please, 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 game, please. 88% chance, and we need it because of our budget. I've put it on low so that we can actually get this law. Oh, man. It only took an 88% chance and about 5 or 6 goes on a plus 50% chance to get agrarianism. But finally, we're no longer, you know, medieval peasants basically roaming around with our economic system. So, at least that's a good thing, I guess. Well, the one good thing is we very much have sorted out our explosives deficit. As you can see, we've brought them into line up here. Very nice indeed. Our main concern now is both our bureaucracy and our steel deficit, and maybe some clothes as well, but I've got all the buildings queued up that we need. It's just going to take a little bit of time. And as we're getting close to 1880, guys, let's take stock of where we've been. Our domestic product has gone up quite a bit. We are number 4 still in the world, but it's really a lot lower than it should be, but mainly due to our law issues, shall we say. Our literacy is going pretty well now as well, which is awesome. And our standard of living is finally on the up, with everyone having an expected standard of living. Very nice. Our population is decent, as you can see, 52.9 million or so. Our radicals are now coming down due to the standard of living, which is good. We are still on very high taxation, which of course is terrible, so we need to start pumping the economy now. I just can't believe how far behind we are. Like, we should be so much further along than this. In terms of our institutions though, guys, we have them all at the max levels that we need, apart from law enforcement, because of course that gives the landowners some political strength, which they already have a lot of. And look how close Malacca is to joining our power block, 3 away, and it's been about that for a long time. We're doing all of this to try and get them, but it's still not working, unfortunately. And now we have a new king, Emperor Adiatorix Agiad over here, and he's an authoritarian, so, I mean, we are keeping monarchy. I know it's not the best, but we are keeping it just because of the thematic. So that's another, you know, sort of negative that we have for us. And unfortunately, we have an illegitimate government and nothing we can reform into, so we need an election pretty quick. Right, let's try for per capita taxation. It's not going to radicalize the landowners, so that is one good thing, and it should bring us a lot more money if we do manage to pass it, which, knowing this run, we're not going to pass it. Now we're stuck in perpetually illegitimate governments, which, of course, is always fun. Well, seeing as the Congo won't come into our faction with any sort of pushing, we are going to try and take them ourselves. Well, there goes the Congo. Very nice. And I did make Moravi a subject as well over here in East Africa, but it should be okay. It made the cohesion go down a little bit, but yeah, we'll start ticking that back up now. And we have surveyed the Suez, so of course we're going to make a suitable offer for it. So our cohesion is already back up to 75%, which is very nice. So what we're going to do, we're also going to subjugate Yamnat over here, a very big nation, a Hindu nation, remember, as well, in East Africa and South Arabia. Very nice. And damn, per capita taxation, guys, we are finally on the road to becoming a proper nation. I mean, look at our economy. It has skyrocketed recently. So has our literacy and our standard of living. Our population is growing and our loyalists and radicals are getting a little bit more balanced. I mean, the main problem now is the fact that we can't really get any of these without radicalizing the landowners. We are, however, gonna go for it and see what happens. What I am, however, going to do is literally cancel everything that is using our authority, and hopefully that will make this pretty fast. No, it is still 188 days, so that is not great for us, honestly. In terms of our economy now, though, guys, with per capita taxation, we're making a ton of money. So we are just going to tank the cost for that extra steel. 432. In terms of our market, if we have a look at steel, we are quite far behind, but we are just about to start building some extra steel mills. If we need more than that, I'll alt-click a few more in, but I think we can tank that in our economy for the time being. And look at that. That construction is finally looking more like it. Galicia, I really just want to know what you have been doing this entire time. Like, you've just been doing nothing. Same with pretty much everyone in Europe. It's been a big stalemate, really. And honestly, with steel frame buildings, it's not even that bad of a deficit currently. We will need to build some more glassworks, though. And there we go. We've almost instantly balanced out steel now, which is good. We just need to balance out the glass and the coal. With that in mind, we are going to build 5 more construction sectors, maybe 10. No, I think 5 will be okay for now. And god damn it, Garir is starting a play against us, which is never good. Well, now we've got Tamarki and Malacca involved as well. That should definitely help out quite a bit, I think. Hopefully they can plug some of the gaps in these lines. And there we go. Garir just literally backed down. Very nice indeed. And that actually gave us one of our primary objectives, which was to take the Sinai so we could build the canal. Very nice. And we just tipped over 50 million. For this point in the game, normally that would be pretty trash, I'm not gonna lie, but for some of the setbacks we've had, I think it's been okay. I mean, honestly, this has kind of been like playing an Ottomans game. Like, we had such terrible economic legislation and we kept failing at getting it, so yeah, it's been interesting to say the least, but finally it feels like we're maybe over the hump. We shall see. And it seems like universal suffrage is facing the same fate as every other piece of legislation we've tried to pass in this whole goddamn game. Again, failing to get past introduction like 3 or 4 times on plus 50% or more. And finally, we are a maybe slightly democratic nation now. Finally. And there we go, election in 150 days. That is going to be so useful. Hopefully we can reduce the power of the landowners even less. And there we go, a brand new election. It looks like the rural folk might be quite powerful now though. But at least we have finally broken the power of the landowners and the devout. Well guys, another new day and another new shirt, and as you can see, we are probably the second largest GDP in the world now, more than Lotharingia has themselves, and a lot less population. Not quite as much as Rayanus over here, and Awad does have a significant amount too. But honestly, all the Chinese ones, like, they have huge populations, 112 million, but only 33.1 million GDP. So they really haven't been doing too well. And in terms of our standard of living, we are very, very high right now. Sunda, like, how does Sunda have 11.4? Like, oh, Sunda is in the East Indies, and it's not even that big. And yeah, they've got a pretty good standard of living overall. But somehow Yamnat and the Gummos over here do have a more standard of living than us, but we are doing very well compared to a lot of people. Finally, things are looking up for us, finally. And I was just looking at banning the oopsies over here, and I was thinking, why would this radicalize the devout? Like, why would they want this not to be banned? And then I realized that we're kind of one of the OGs of this. The thing is, the landowners and devout aren't that powerful anymore, so I think it is worth just going for this anyway. I think we max out construction in northern Thrace now. I think we can handle it with our economy. And there goes electrical generation. Now, we're going to start experimenting with that maybe in another 9 years, but for now, we're going to leave that to the side, and we'll eventually start moving across to electricity everywhere. And after all the legislative failures we've had in this game, guys, we got this every single tick it went up, so that is very good. Finally, in the young year of 1891, we've got rid of the oopsies. And in terms of our population, guys, we do still have a lot of peasants, 10.1 million and 1 million unemployed people as well, which is never good, but that definitely will have gone up now that we got rid of the oopsies. However, I still want more population. I want to suck population from Lotharingia, Thermakia, Hellenistic Empire, all those places, so that we get all the manpower when it comes to Hoi 4. And we basically now have all the legislation that we really are going to want. So we're going to go off creative legislature, and we're going to go straight in for freedom of movement here, and that is going to start bringing a lot of people from places across the world, because we have very good standard of living compared to many of these places, as you can see. And there we go. Now the Suez Canal is built. We have no employees here as well. That's a bit of a shame, but maybe we just need to start bringing in a few more people from being peasants into being unemployed. And we do have a successionist movement backed by the landowners and the devout, of course. We were sort of expecting that, but yeah, we'll try and suppress these guys. And let's keep on making the landowners angry by going for dedicated police force. I mean, it wouldn't be a Victoria 3 video without a successionist war led by the landowners, would it, guys? And there it fires, my friends. Overall, doesn't look too bad to deal with, but yeah, we'll be able to deal with it, I think. And there we go. There's dedicated police force. That is now going to allow us to get that right up, maybe all the way, and that's really going to help with our radical problem. And honestly, it's a pretty easy victory, really. We should be able to win this pretty quickly. Well, there we go. They are now completely done. Very nice indeed. The landowners should be pretty destroyed at this point. And I think now we can risk going for cultural exclusion. There is a chance it won't pass, but it will be very good if it does. We're also now going to subjugate Malacca too, which is going to reduce our cohesion by quite a bit, but it should start ticking up once again. And am I being dumb? Like, when did Favonia join the bloc? I don't remember that, but okay, the glorious ally of the Spartans the whole way through this game, Favonia, who we've never even interacted with once, has joined our glorious bloc. I'm assuming to get rid of Lotharingia, basically. Well, it looks like becoming more tolerant is not something that the Spartan people want, so yeah, let's get that done, and hopefully that's going to end this revolution. And we beat socialism in our country, apparently, guys, which, honestly, I can't imagine a Spartan type of socialism. I think there's one political ideology that Sparta suits the best. Tech-wise now, let's get malaria prevention. That is going to allow us to colonize a little bit quicker. And our new emperor has a very, Spartan name. And now with our rampant industrialization, guys, we are struggling very much to keep in check our glass, our coal, and our engines. At the minute, steel seems to be okay. It's about balanced, but yeah, coal, glass, and engines are starting to run away a little bit, so we're trying to just modify that slightly. And there goes elected bureaucrats. Very nice. And the year is 1900, guys, so what we're going to do now is start focusing maybe slightly off the economy. You can see it's been going pretty darn well overall the last 20 or 30 years. Honestly, I'd expect normally when I play Victoria 3 to have hit this point in the 1860s maybe, but yeah, we didn't face the best RNG in the world, did we? Or maybe I'm just terrible. But now I think it is time to start focusing a little bit on our army, because we can't have a World War II without a World War I. Now, I think it's time to give a helping hand to some of our lower strata people. In terms of the rest of the world, guys, not much has changed. I mean, we are pretty much the only power block apart from the joint front, which is just Lotharingia and its subjects, so oh, apparently Wu is in the joint front as well. That's interesting to say the least. But yeah, honestly, we are doing a very good job of mopping up the world, but like I say, we don't want to be too powerful. We are now down on very low taxes as well, helping out with our standard of living. In terms of our market, we have managed to get a lot of it under control once again, but we do keep fluctuating because obviously the more buildings we build, the worse this gets. But I've got about 50 coal mines queued up already, but with the amount of money we're making, I am probably going to build at least 10 more construction sectors. And there we go, we've just tipped over 100 million GDP, guys, making us the largest economy in the world. Very nice indeed. And there goes poor laws. That should really help us with our standard of living. Well, interestingly enough, guys, the reason why Favonia is in our power block is that they are a subject of Yamnat. How many pies have you got your fingers in, my friend? Well, guys, we definitely need to get planning for our World War I. I think Lotharingia's been a bit of a naughty boy. I mean, no reason other than the fact that they're pretty big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a load of artillery foundries, arms industries, and munition plants before building a load of barracks and making our armies 100 units each. Believe it or not, we literally just have skirmish infantry at the moment, which is a little bit of a shame. No artillery, no lancers at all, but I'm not building any cavalry. I don't think they're going to be that useful. So it's just going to be artillery and infantry for now. Ah, I forgot Lotharingia trying to continue continually invade Syracuse. Well, I think that might be our casus belli, guys. And I think we go for cultural exclusion if we can. It's going to piss off the petty bourgeois, but I think that's okay. They're only going to be protesting from this. Also, we got our old friend back to Markia. We are now allies with these boys too, which is very good for World War I when we get there. In terms of what we want to do before we leave this game, guys, of course we want a bit of a World War I to start with. And by the way, I did make Garir a protectorate, making them more autonomous, because if we didn't do that, there was a good chance that a few of these other powers might get involved, and we're not quite ready for that yet. But I'm getting distracted. The other stuff, we basically just want to clean up the rest of Africa, basically because by doing that, we won't have to worry about this front down here in Hoi 4. Well, Congo, it looks like you've not been so isolationist after all. We're also going to build universities all around our lands over here. Firstly, because we are nowhere near our innovation cap. I have kind of been ignoring that for a while. And secondly, so that no one can say that we haven't been gloriously benevolent overlords. And damn, there we go, cultural exclusion. That is really going to help with accepting a lot of our pops. Well, that is not what I expected to see when I woke up this morning, I'm not going to lie. And it gets even worse. But at least there's still Carthaginians, 1.79 million Carthaginians left in the country to keep our hopes alive. And there goes trench infantry, very nice. And now once again, like the Renegade Master, we are back to number 1. Well, as the year has tipped into the 1910s, I think it's time to start our large war. But what will it be fought over? Well, I think it has to be fought over Mali in this world. Oh my days, though. That is 90 infamy. Sorry, Mali, you're just not worth it. So you know what? I think we're going to clean up our borders somewhat. So let's go for Lotharingia's Piedmont over here, and it looks like pretty much everyone else is going to join their side. We're also going to add in Lotharingia's Lombardy over here. I think we're also going to try and liberate Lotharingia's Cascadia too. And I think by all rights, the Greek center of civilization, Syracuse, belongs to us, not the Gaulish Catholics of Lotharingia. And I've got to say, the game is not enjoying this one bit. In terms of armies, we've got 300 stacks, guys, and we've got 260 stack smaller ones to take out smaller areas. Well, Korea joined them. I don't know why, but okay. We didn't get a chance to upgrade all of our infantry to trench infantry, but luckily for us, neither has Lotharingia. Well then, boys, it is time for World War I. Let's see how it goes. And there it is. These are all our war goals, boys, and these are their war goals. And you could have chosen a better time to sort this out, Georgia, really. Well, huge engagements going on in the Alps and the east of Europe, guys. Very, very big. You can see a monstrous amount of troops over here, but we are just defending currently, and we'll see how we get on from there. I mean, we are very much losing in North America, but the more troops they send over this way, the better for us. Well, they just took a ton of troops off the front line. It looks like they're sending them all over here, which is quite funny, really. So we might see if we can do a little bit of a push. It looks like Tamarkia is pushing right now, so let's help our brothers in arms out. Well, it really does look like they've committed too much to the new world and not really thought about the old world too much. So once we can get our other 60 stack army over here, I think we'll be able to hold not too badly either. Well, Korea has left the war. That's certainly helpful for us. And that has just blown this front wide open. Look at that, 45 advantage right now. Let's see whether we can use that advantage. Well, I don't know what Tamarkia is doing, but it seems like they've taken a few troops off the front, maybe. They are starting to get invaded over in the east, while we are pushing in the west, as you can see. So, it's an interesting one. What I think we'll do is we'll go back to defending the front on all of these big armies over here. And then we'll wait for another opportunity to sally forth. And there goes Tamarkia. That's not the best sign. And I've just been staring, watching this the whole time, but the map is absolute chaos right now. But the thing is, we are winning most of these engagements along the Alps front because of our defense, of course. But I don't think we're going to be able to push at all. But we probably will, in a few more months, do one last big push and see what happens. And this war is just destroying our convoys, unfortunately. So I think, honestly, it's now or never. Let's go for a push. Let's see what happens. I mean, this is what both us and Lotharingia get for not having actual navies. Like, if we had a decent navy, we could have ended this so quickly. But alas, we do not. And unfortunately, our great push has yielded us nothing. Well then guys, I think this war has cost us enough. But about 3.4 million dead and wounded on our side, and about 4.3 million dead and wounded on theirs. It has cost them more money than us, but unfortunately neither of us have been able to do anything about our war goals. So a humiliating white peace for the two predominant large powers in this world. And there we go, signed on the 15th of March 1915, the white peace between the great nation of Lotharingia and Sparta. I think that is a nice springboard for whatever's going to happen in Hoi 4. The weird thing is that really didn't even have much impact on our population. It's still been going up. Our GDP, however, has taken a large hit from that. Well guys, it's 1925 and I think we are going to leave it there. Honestly, the world doesn't look too different from what it did before, but yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed in some of these powers, honestly. Like, Rayanus had such an opportunity to do a lot in Asia and sort of unify from Iran all the way across to the middle of China here, but they've pretty much done nothing. And the same thing with Lotharingia. They've pretty much just stayed stable, not really expanded at all. If we look at the power blocks, this is our power block, guys, including Favonia over here, which is kind of funny. But yeah, we own most of South America, a large portion of North America, and a huge portion of Africa as well. In the east, of course, we own most of the East Indies. That's going to be so helpful when we get into Hoi 4. But Lotharingia's power block is pretty darn awful. Like, it's just their subjects, and then Wu and Korea, I think. So yeah, interesting. We'll see what happens when we get to Hoi 4. We are the #1 ranked power once again with 231.3 million GDP. Honestly, a lot lower than it could have been if we'd been really min-maxing, especially with electricity. But honestly, guys, the electricity system in this game is so annoying. It requires so much min-maxing and just messing around, and I really couldn't be arsed using it. I did build electric power plants in like all of our states, but just so that the converter doesn't mess anything up and make us like a low developed nation or something when we get into Hoi 4. But yeah, we have pretty much the highest standard of living in the world, apart from Yamnat with a monstrous 18.9. That is crazy, but we do have the highest GDP by quite a long way. Honestly, Britain is an absolute shambles. 13.1 million GDP for Britain. That is awful. I have spent the last few years of the game consolidating Africa, so all of these boys now are our subjects. The only one we couldn't do is Mali, because that would have started World War II before World War II is supposed to start, guys. One thing that I absolutely love is that the Aborigines are in charge of most of Australia still. That is fantastic. And honestly, Asia doesn't really bear looking at. It's absolute chaos over here. It is horrible to look at. Border boys, close your eyes. But honestly, I think that is a nice setup for World War II. It's pretty much, I think, going to be Sparta versus Lotharingia, Britain, Galicia, and Timarchia most likely, and probably the Hellenistic Empire too. But hopefully the converter makes us quite powerful, because Hoi 4 for me is a difficult game to play. I love playing it, I'm just really bad at it. Budget wise, this is what we ended on. 1.49 million national revenue, guys, on low taxes, still making money. 1.41 million national expenses. Now I know I should have been putting these up. But honestly, guys, remember in the mega campaign, we're not trying to be too OP, so it really doesn't matter about min-maxing everything when you're playing these mega campaigns. It's more about getting through some years and making sure you don't do anything stupid. We do have over 100 million population now, which is fantastic, and for the first time in a long time, we have more loyalists than we do radicals. Literacy has remained a little bit of an issue, mainly because we couldn't change any laws to get our education institution a little bit higher. So yeah, but we are a lot more literate than Northern Europe, as you can see, guys. And in terms of states, Venice became the absolute powerhouse. 5.6 million population in Venice over here. I have been trying to boost up the infrastructure all the time, but yeah, it's got a lot of buildings, railways, universities, coal mines, sulfur mines, logging camps, motor industries, fertilizer plants, all that sort of thing in here. And here are the laws that we did end on, guys, and as you can see, we pretty much weren't able to touch any of this towards the end because we did make the agrarians very, very powerful. Now, I'm not too bothered about that, but yeah, it meant that we couldn't really pass any progressive laws on the human rights side. And of course, we have the glorious Emperor John Argiad, a name that has come out of the blue, honestly, but we do still have the same dynasty in charge from the very start of the game, which is the main aim, and that is pretty awesome. Institutions-wise, guys, we are maxed as far as we can go without changing any laws. So overall, guys, I hope you have enjoyed this video. I can't wait to conquer the rest of the world in Hoi 4. That is going to be fun. Make a true Spartan world to finish this mega campaign off. If you have been enjoying it, please do like and subscribe. It really does help the channel out. And once again, I am very sorry that this has been very much delayed. But without further ado, guys, thank you very much for watching. I will see you all again on the next video.